When first looking at Ape Out, you would be forgiven for thinking it was just another top-down score attack game straight out of the Hotline Miami and Hong Kong Massacre playbook. Yes, Ape Out does take notable cues from its contemporaries, but peel back the layers and you will soon discover a game that is unapologetically stylish, unabashedly violent, remorselessly difficult, and irresistibly delightful. The premise of Ape Out is uncomplicated. You are in control of a 500-pound gorilla who wants one thing and one thing only: to escape. This isn't a game in which you need to devour the history and lore of the world around you to understand what the hell is going on. You just have to devour the enemies in front of you. The controls are simple. You run, you push, and you grab. Easy. However, do not mistake simplicity for laziness. Each of these actions has seemingly limitless amounts of nuance that allows for flexibility in how you approach each section. Each of the 4 unique albums will stretch the limits on how you use your raw ape power. Running can lead you to areas of respite where you can take time to consider your next move. Pushing can not only make your captors human jelly onto the walls, but can also be hilariously shoved out of windows, off ledges, or into open areas as a potential resource to use later. The grab, however, will be your key tool for escape. Each of the enemies reacts in different ways once grabbed. Some are broad and thus the perfect human shield, and some spray fire their machine guns in panic, mincing everyone in front of them. Once you are done with them, you can throw them into oncoming captors to make a bloody sandwich, or out of windows because once again, that's hilarious. Ragdolling enemies never ceases to be entertaining and really drives home the power that you possess. Do not mistake your power for invincibility. Other than explosions which will kill you instantly, your ape can survive 2 shots before succumbing to death, but you are in no way a bullet sponge. Enemies do not shoot you on sight, so you do have time to manoeuvre yourself into an advantageous position, but there are times where you will be overwhelmed and you will get skewered, so you have to play with some caution. Cleverly, if you do die, the game will give you an outline of how you moved during that run and how far you were till the end of that section. Though the enemies are randomly generated, most of the architecture around you will remain the same, so you can start mapping out an alternative route. It is in the randomness of the enemy placements, however, that does make Ape Out venture into unforgivable frustration. With other games, like my friend Pedro Katana Zero, you can take the time to learn enemy patterns, but Ape Out doesn't allow you that privilege. An area that was initially barren will suddenly be swarmed with enemies. When this is paired with a level design that doesn't suit your playstyle and some of the sweatier enemy abilities, Ape Out can leave you playing the same section over and 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 over. Over and over and over and over and over and over and over again until your mental resolve breaks and you want to hurl your controller and yourself out the nearest window, which would be significantly less hilarious. The trick is to keep going. Eventually, you will enter a meditative state where your actions become pure instinct, culminating in a completed run that, oh, f***'s sake, what the f***? That's it, I'm out, I can't, nope. Eventually, you will enter a meditative state where every action becomes pure instinct, culminating in a completed run that will make all the infuriating deaths and failures worth it. Just about. What truly sets Ape Out apart is its art design. Ape Out is uncompromising in its style, lifted straight from 50s film and jazz records. Its bold art style, focusing on block shapes and colours, makes every explosion of blood look like a splattering of paint against a canvas. It is its smallest details, however, that really highlight Ape Out's commitment to its aesthetic. The use of a rimshot sound effect when choosing an album, the soft scratchings of a vinyl spinning on a needle between each track, and even the use of a Q dot, a staple in old 35mm film, to symbolise the end and beginnings of parts. These are such small details, but the details that matter when aiming for this style of vintage feel. The sound design doubles down on this, with each level punctuated by an improvised jazz drum track that ramps up in intensity as the level progresses, with crashes of cymbals and rides as our titular ape reacquaints enemies with walls. The whole cacophony of sound builds and builds gloriously throughout each of the 4 albums, with each having their own identities whilst blended together beautifully into an end credits track which is the best thing I've ever heard in a video game. Ape Out is unforgiving. It will punish you for missteps and sometimes leave you a crumpled, aggravated mess on the floor. This doesn't stop Ape Out being a visual and audio smorgasbord of joy. It looks stunning, it sounds stunning, and is wonderfully entertaining. The arcade and harder difficulty modes do give an obvious reason to revisit, but honestly, you will just want to come back to look at it. Ape Out is the epitome of cool, a bloody triumph. For more content like this, be sure to like, share and subscribe. Thank you for watching. Stay foxy.